But if you're antimatter, I guess you just don't care about anything anymore. Wait, what? Hey there, Family Matters. Trace here for D-News. Thanks for watching. Matter is everything around us. It's you, it's me, it's the tree, the rock. It's everywhere, even the land and the ship. Matter is considered every physical substance in the universe. If it has mass, it is matter. But then there's this other thing called antimatter. During the Big Bang, the universe should have created half and half. One atom of matter, one atom of antimatter. But look around you. Matter is pretty much everywhere. Where'd all the antimatter go? This is one of the great mysteries of physics. And the science...
Good evening, lovely spirits. It's the wise servant here, Mr. Solace. Peace and wisdom. Hopefully you all heard what that guy was saying about antimatter, because I want to do this short video explaining antimatter. Now, as you heard him say, in the beginning, at the Big Bang, there should have been matter and antimatter in equal quantities. But if you look around today, all you see is physical matter. You don't see any antimatter. They look all around the galaxy for it, but they can't find it. They don't find any antimatter planets. They don't find any antimatter stars. They haven't found any antimatter organisms, cells. They can't even find antimatter atoms. The only thing they find is antimatter particles, meaning an antimatter proton or antimatter hydrogen atom. So they do find antimatter atoms, but they don't find anything higher, meaning organism level. Cells are organisms as well. They're microorganisms. Now I want y'all to grasp this, because it's a very deep thing where scientists have confused themselves. In scientists not having the answer for things like this is how you get the antimatter dimensions, which is not true. This is how you get the theory that when the Big Bang went off, all the antimatter and matter canceled each other out, but there was more matter. So in today's time, scientists will say there's slightly more matter than antimatter in our universe. This is another lie that was made up, because they can't explain why the antimatter did not cancel out the matter. How do we exist? All of the antimatter in the event of the Big Bang, all of the antimatter should have canceled out all the matter. And in the moment that life began, life should have ended. So they're trying to figure this out. How does that work? And why can't we find any antimatter? And it's a simple thing I want you guys to grasp. When scientists try to bring hydrogen atoms and oxygen atoms together to recreate water, they never can recreate water. All they do is create an explosion, meaning cancels each other out. So it's the same with the antimatter. See, when scientists do it, it causes an explosion, but when the life does it, it creates the life. The same way the life creates water. But when the scientist does it, it doesn't work that way. Now you have to grasp, scientists are not the life, so they don't understand the ins and outs, the unseen aspect of these things. So when they're bringing together antimatter with matter, which is opposites, they're not including any type of neutral. Proton, neutron, electron, neutron. If you electrically wire a house or something, you need a neutral wire to balance them out. So they get the explosion for that reason. But it's small things like this scientists don't add into their equation. And it's a deep thing I want y'all to grasp. Antimatter and matter doesn't necessarily cancel one another out. It just does that when scientists do it. The same way hydrogen and oxygen does when they do it. This is how we get the atom bomb and things like this, because they're trying to recreate water. So it's a deep, simple thing I want you guys to grasp. Now, in regards to where is all the antimatter at, you're looking at it. Antimatter and matter is the same thing. They're only different at their particle level. So grasp. Once antimatter becomes an atom, and then a cell, and then an organism, and then a star, and a planet, it's the same thing as matter. You would not see the difference because it's a matter of the action. When you're dealing with antimatter, the energies work in reverse. So in antimatter, the masculine energies act feminine, and the feminine energies act masculine. Now they refer this to proton and electron. But for sake of confusion, we'll just look at the energies within antimatter as feminine and masculine. But the feminine acts masculine and the masculine acts feminine. Now when you're dealing with ordinary matter, the two energies act normal. The masculine energy acts like a male, and the feminine energy acts like a woman. So it's a simple thing. Now, when these particles build themselves up into atoms, cells, organisms, you will not see a physical difference. The antimatter is not in some dark half of the life. It's not in some duality half of the life. Grasp. The duality of life is right before your eyes. We think that there's a dark side to Earth and this is where all the antimatter particles came up at. No. The duality of life is right before your eyes. And the antimatter particles that came up to be cells, organisms, no different than matter. It's all right before your eyes. But it's a matter of observing the action of these things. So when you're looking at organisms, you don't look to see where's the antimatter organism. You look to see, does the organism act in reverse to what it's supposed to. A man is a man. If you see a man acting like a woman in this physical existence, there's your antimatter particles. Why? Because we know antimatter, the energies are reversed. We know when you see a physical man acting like a woman, his energies are reversed. There's the antimatter right amongst the matter. Now, when a man that is ordinary matter comes in contact with a homosexual man, which is antimatter, what happens? Confusion, explosion. So it's a simple, deep thing I want you guys to grasp. Scientists don't include the most simple things like that. So we look for alternative worlds that are made of the antimatter particles, but this is absurd. In the beginning, the antimatter particles and the matter particles were all in the same existence. For some reason, we think there was a split that happened, and this went this way and that went that way. And that's not what happened. It developed up together. This is how you have a duality in life, where you see day and night grass. There's your day and your night. Antimatter and matter. You have the duality right before you. Life and death. So you don't need to think, oh, antimatter is another aspect of life that we're not a part of. No. There is no aspect of life that you're not a part of. The only aspects of life that you're not a part of are the parts that you have not gotten to in your life or ascended to in your spiritual life. Meaning, the life force within the body keeps going, ascending through the different levels of life, from micro to macro. Sperm cells are micro. Hey, look at you now. You're an organism. So this is my point. Scientists are not that smart. And it's a matter of school. Conditions the mind. They can't think outside of what they were told. It's a weird thing. You would think if antimatter cancels out matter, yet in life you don't actually see that happening. It only happens when you put them together in a body. Wouldn't common sense tell you maybe it's just when we do it causes this problem? And when life does it, it all merges and becomes the life we see? That doesn't pop into their minds. So it's a deep thing I want y'all to grasp. Scientists, they confuse themselves. And in that, they confuse us all. It's a deep thing. But the physicist Michio Kaku, he said that if anyone can explain the mystery of why we're still in existence, being as though antimatter cancels out matter, when the Big Bang happened, we should have all went right out of existence in that same instance. He said if anyone can explain why we're still in existence, they should get a Nobel Peace Prize. Well, I should get one because I just explained it. It's a simple thing. Hydrogen and oxygen. All scientists should refer to that. When life brings hydrogen and oxygen together, what do you get? Water. When scientists bring hydrogen and oxygen together, what do you get? An explosion. Case closed. Hydrogen and oxygen does not cancel one another out. And neither does antimatter and matter. Grasp. It's just when they do it. Because they don't apply the unseen forces that are at work. Like the neutron or the neutral wire. It's a deep thing. You need a balance before you start bringing opposite energies together. But scientists don't do this. They just bring the particles together, create an explosion, and then they have a new bomb. But what they set out to do, they never accomplish. It's absurd. Then you have guys like me. Scientists need me, but we're just not connected. I'm not in the science college type of, I don't dwell in those atmospheres. I'm not too big on being conditioned in the brain, but I will say antimatter and matter, all this boils down to the two energies that all the variety of energies that we have come from. So it's a simple thing. If you don't understand antimatter and matter, and this is just science putting words on things. They just putting words on energy. That's why I didn't say protons and electrons. I said masculine and feminine, because we can all grasp that easier. And it's the same thing. Grasp. It's a deep thing. They like to confuse people for some strange reason. And in them doing that, they confuse themselves, as y'all clearly see. I just broke down antimatter in 13 minutes. If you never heard about antimatter, I'm sure you grasp what I just said. If you've heard about antimatter, I'm sure you grasp what I just said. Yet, we're struggling to figure out their theories that make no sense. It's a deep thing, but it's your main man Solace, the wise servant, peace and wisdom.